Hey folks, are you tired of always coming in second place or worse? Sick of that friendly game of tennis with your neighbor Lou, who always trounces your ass in the public courts and offers up a shit-eating grin and a shrug to inflict insult to injury? Does your kid's hockey team have a date with the league powerhouse bullies that crapped on them all season in the Pee Wee Championship game? Maybe that oath you made to get up an hour before you have to start work each day and run 5K is currently on shaky legs. Or hell, maybe you're angling for that promotion at work and looking to get yourself super motivated to kick a little corporate ass. This episode of Acid Test Cinema will take a look at the films, or more precisely the scenes, that for you will be the cinematic equivalent of a high-octane EpiPen dose of pure adrenaline. Straight into the jugular to set yourself on fire and take on the world like the beast slayer you most certainly are. That's the sexiest chrome dome, well, next to me of course, to ever grace a screen, just absolutely killing herself to get through the absolute hell of Navy SEALs training in Ridley Scott's G.I. Jane. It's a great scene set against Three Dog Night's iconic rocker Mama Told Me, an absolute must-see for the ladies in my audience, and a total fuck you to every douchebag jock that ever put you down. And for the rest of us douchebags, it's that rare training montage that'll no doubt stiffen your custard launcher while giving you all the motivation you need to take on the universe. David O. Russell's The Fighter has a pretty damn great training scene with Mark Wahlberg as pugilist Mickey Ward. Here he trains in perfect harmony to the Stones' Can You Hear Me Knockin'? Love that scene. Other notable moments: Flashdance Maniac scene, Batman Begins sword training, and American Sniper's Navy SEALs Hell Week. Then there's this great sequence from Academy Award-winning documentary Pumping Iron, with no less than Arnold Schwarzenegger egging on a fellow bodybuilder as he does a brutal set of squats.
Do more. I want to do more. No matter what. Come on. One more, Eddie. And flex the way, come up. Damn! Yeah. Yeah, that's it. That's good.
Then explains the mentality of a champion.
Just then go on and go on and then go on. And this last 2 or 3 or 4 repetitions, that's what makes actually the muscle then grow. And that divides then one from a champion and one from not being a champion. If you can go through this pain barrier, you make it to be a champion. If you can't go through, forget it. And that's what most people lack, is on this, having the guts. The guts to go in and just say, I go through and I don't care what happens.
But for the ultimate training, whip yo ass into shape sequence ever committed to film, we have to go back to the granddaddy of them all, John G. Avildsen's 1976 Best Picture winner, Rocky. Now, you couldn't watch this film back in the day without charging out of the theater, feeling like you could kick the shit out of the world with one hand tied behind your back. Rocky, the ultimate Cinderella story, not named Cinderella, is a pure cinematic adrenaline rush that will stay with you for days after viewing. The iconic training sequence set to Bill Conti's brilliant Gonna Fly Now set the standard for training scenes and truly hasn't been matched to this day. That's Burt Reynolds in fine 70s form with that glorious porn stash driving the shit out of his girlfriend's Citroen as he's chased by cops in Robert Aldrich's The Longest Yard. Another set scene to an all-time classic rock track, this time Lynyrd Skynyrd's Saturday Night Special. Now this is a car chase that doesn't get enough love but is guaranteed to get your engine revving. The right song with the right car chase, all the while good old boy Burt is whooping it up and having himself a ball. I love this version of Burt Reynolds, well before he morphed into bitter old Burt. Gotta give some love here to two brilliant William Friedkin films, Gene Hackman driving like a bat out of hell as he chases an elevated train through the streets of New York in The French Connection. And To Live and Die in LA's white-knuckled insane car chase through LA, all to the driving synth beat of Wang Chung, which ends up with our two morally bankrupt cops heading into an oncoming traffic on the Terminal Island Freeway. Now let's also give a tip of the hat to Casino Royale's brilliant opening with a parkour/foot chase, which pits the nimbleness of the assailant against the brute force and determination of James Bond. And the foot chase between Brad Pitt and John Doe in David Fincher's masterpiece 7. Now this doesn't get your pulse pounding, well, you may in fact already be dead. But for the very best of the best, most high-octane chase scene, you really can't do much better than George Miller's The Road Warrior. Set against a grim desert wasteland, and without aid of any CGI, the chases in this film, and you can just drop the needle on any one of them, are an absolute blissful, metal-crunching, head-splattering ballet of vehicular violence that'll make you want to don your kid's hockey armor, climb into your Kia Sportage and just find some shit to smash into. That's Choi Min-sik in Park Chan-wook's seminal bloody revenge thriller, Old Boy. Now, if you're anything like me, I love watching combat sports, be it boxing, MMA, or NHL hockey. Now, there's nothing like reclining in my Easy Boy lounger with a cheap glass of scotch and a bag of Fritos to enjoy the spectacle of two men pounding the shit out of each other. And so the same can be said of cinema and its greatest fight scenes. Now, you can never go wrong with the Raid series of films directed by Gareth Evans. I mean, these things are just absolute orgies of kung fu mayhem. Here, Rama, played by Iko Uwais, versus the assassin, has these two pound and bash the crap out of each other in a restaurant kitchen that'll leave you tasting copper in your spit to its nasty conclusion. Or the Raid Redemption, where Rama takes on 4 machete-wielding goons in the hallway of a rundown tenement building. Just good, bloody fun. Other brilliant fights include the Jason Bourne versus Desh fight and Paul Greengrass's The Bourne Ultimatum. Love that secret agent Chop Saki. Denzel Washington killing a film full of Russian mafia assholes, and Antoine Fuqua's The Equalizer, all in about 30 seconds. Michael Fassbender's brilliant fight with gargantuan hitman in David Fincher's The Killer. Now, I love how this is staged in a dark house. Feels like every thudding hit is rocking the place to its very foundations. The warped sound, the camera moves, the choreography, this will definitely go down in cinema as an all-time classic fight scene. And for those of you who want to go old school, I gave you Sean Connery's favorite scene in the entire James Bond series, where he engages in a tight quarters, brutal fight with Robert Shaw and Robert and Terrence Young's classic From Russia with Love. But if I have to boil this down to just one glorious go-to fight, I'm gonna go old school again and say Bruce Lee and Robert Klaus's Enter the Dragon. Let's just say it, Bruce Lee was the absolute fucking man back in the 70s world of martial arts film. Now you can take Jackie Chan, Jet Li, Jean-Claude Van Damme, and that fat bastard Steven Seagal, and combined, they don't have a tenth of this man's charisma and badassery. From the one-sided beatdown of the American giant O'Hare to kicking the shit out of 100 guards, and the eventual showdown with the evil Mr. Razorclaw. Which will lead to the iconic Hall of Mirrors scene. This is an absolute triple charge EpiPen of fight juice that'll absolutely leave you thirsting to karate chop your way through the throng of drones to get to the 24-pack of Kirkland toilet paper at your local Costco.
My name is Maximus Decimus Meridius, commander of the armies of the North, general of the Felix Legions, loyal servant to the true Emperor Marcus Aurelius, father to a murdered son, husband to a murdered wife, and I will have my vengeance in this life or the next.
There's nothing like a balls-out great speech to spark your motivation and get the competitive juices flowing. And if you're a stockbroker or businessman, perhaps this classic Gordon Gekko speech to an audience of investors in Oliver Stone's Wall Street would be just the ticket.
That greed, for lack of a better word, is good. Greed is right. Greed works. Greed clarifies, cuts through, and captures the essence of the evolutionary spirit. Greed in all of its forms. Greed for life, for money, for love, knowledge.
If you're gearing up for a big fight, be it actual military combat or locking horns with your neighbor over their constant blasting of their shitty music, then it may well do you good to check out this brilliant opening speech from no less than General George S. Patton, here played by George C. Scott and Franklin Schaffner's Patton.
Americans traditionally love to fight. All real Americans love the sting of battle. When you were kids, you all admired the champion marble shooter, the fastest runner, big league ball players, the toughest boxers. Americans love a winner and will not tolerate a loser. Americans play to win all the time. I wouldn't give a hoot in hell for a man who lost and laughed. That's why Americans have never lost and will never lose a war.
Staying with great wartime speeches, check out Gary Oldman in his Academy Award-winning portrayal of Winston Churchill in Joe Wright's Darkest Hour. Here he's delivering that most famous speech that galvanized the British people in their resistance against Nazi tyranny.
From the Gestapo and all the odious apparatus of the Nazi rule, we shall not flag or fail. We shall go on to the end. We shall fight in France. We shall fight on the seas and oceans. We shall fight with with growing confidence and growing strength in the air. We shall defend our island, whatever the cost may be. We shall fight on the beaches. We shall fight on the landing grounds.
Still gives me chills to this day. In the world of sports, you could do a lot worse than Bose Yakin's Remember the Titans. Now, this little gem from the early 2000s starring Denzel Washington and Will Patton is jam-packed with great motivational moments, including this one where Washington as Coach Boone addresses his players.
50,000 men died right here on this field, fighting the same fight that we're still fighting amongst ourselves today. This green field right here, it's painted red, bubbling with the blood of young boys. Smoke and hot lead pouring right through their bodies. Listen to their souls, man. I killed my brother with malice in my heart, hatred, destroyed my family. You listen. You take a lesson from the dead. If we don't come together right now on this hollow ground, we too will be destroyed.
There's just one speech you can turn to ignite the blast furnace of your inner beast warrior. If it can only be one, then I present to you the most balls-out, greatest post-game speech ever delivered into the silver screen. Now, maniac that I am, I actually screened this for my son's Pee-wee hockey team the night before a championship game, which I can tell you got some really odd looks from some of the mothers. But screw it, they played the next day like gorillas on speed that had just broken out of their cages. Thank you, Al Pacino. The film is Oliver Stone's Any Given Sunday. Here, Pacino as coach Tony D'Amato of the Miami Sharks football team addresses his players before the championship game. Pacino says, "I don't know what to say." Then what follows is possibly the greatest speech in sports film history.
I don't know what to say, really. 3 minutes till the biggest battle of our professional lives. All comes down to today. Either we heal as a team, or we're gonna crumble. Inch by inch, play by play, till we're finished. We're in hell right now, gentlemen. Believe me. And we can stay here, get the shit kicked out of us, or we can fight our way back into the light. We can climb out of hell. 1 inch at a time. Now, I can't do it for you. I'm too old. I look around, I see these young faces, and I think, I mean, I made every wrong choice a middle-aged man can make. I pissed away all my money, believe it or not. I chased off anyone who's ever loved me. And lately, I can't even stand the face I see in a mirror. You know, when you get old in life, things get taken from you. I mean, that's part of life. But you only learn that when you start losing stuff. You find out life's this game of inches. So is football. Because in either game, life or football, the margin for error is so small. I mean, 1/2 a step too late or too early, and you don't quite make it. 1/2 second too slow, too fast, you don't quite catch it. The inches we need are everywhere around us. Hell yeah. They're in every break of the game, every minute, every second. On this team, we fight for that inch. On this team, we tear ourselves and everyone else around us to pieces for that inch. We claw with our fingernails for that inch. Because we know when we add up all those inches, that's gonna make the fucking difference between winning and losing. Between living and dying. I'll tell you this, in any fight, it's the guy who's willing to die who's gonna win that inch. And I know if I'm gonna have any life anymore, it's because I'm still willing to fight and die for that inch. Because that's what living is. The 6 inches in front of your face. Now, I can't make you do it. You gotta look at the guy next to you. Look into his eyes. Now, I think you're gonna see a guy who will go that inch with you. Hell yeah. You're gonna see a guy who will sacrifice himself for this team because he knows when it comes down to it, you're gonna do the same for him. Hell yeah. Right? That's a team, gentlemen. Hell yeah. And either we heal now as a team, or we will die as individuals. That's football, guys. That's all it is. Now, what are you gonna do?
Fight for those inches every day of your life. That is all.